Hey
Hey
guys.
guys. Round 7 was very long.
And painful
Yeah.
for one of us.
Our what was our combined total? We played
Close to 200 moves.
200 moves today, the two of us.
I played 104.
Oh, and I got 90. So over 200. Close to 200 moves.
It's pretty late. It's 7 minutes until midnight, so
Yeah.
we will have less brain function at this point. But yeah, hopefully people can be entertained and hopefully laugh at some of these moves.
Yeah.
We'll start with my game,
Sure.
the longer of the two. Really, this game was determined by one move, which was very painful. I'm still in that like denial phase, where like when you go through just a traumatic event,
Yeah.
it's difficult to cope.
Well, it
but
sounds like you blundered at some point.
I blundered pretty badly. Yeah, I was in control pretty much the full game. So hopefully this will be therapeutic to just share my wound with the world. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's get into it. It's a Sicilian. I had no idea what to expect. I was preparing like b4 on move 2, a3 on move 2. He ended up playing this g3 line, which I have some line against. Knight c6, knight f6, and then e5.
Yeah, I like this for black.
Oh, you play this too?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't played this too recently. I think I had a game in this a few months ago. Solid for black. So we develop. He plays h3. I do want to point out if he plays some careless move like knight c3, then bishop g4 is really strong. Because there's two ideas. There's knight d4, and then there's queen d7 to prevent h3.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then if h3, then I win a pawn tactically because I take and then take. So he was wise enough to play h3. And then the game continues. Bishop e7, c3. Okay, we're going to zoom forward because it's a very long game. But I want to give people an exercise. We'll have the exercise in this position.
Okay.
It's a line to calculate.
Oh, so you're training?
Yes. So no cheating. I calculated this line before playing bishop e6. But critical line is d4, c take d4, c take d4, e take d4, knight take d4, knight take d4, rook take d4. Black to move and double attack after rook take d4.
In that position.
Okay,
so bishop on c1 is hanging, h3 pawn is hanging, queen c8.
Good job.
Nice.
So that's what I calculated when I played bishop e6, thinking if he plays d4, he falls into a trap. But then I realized, as he was thinking in this position, that queen c8 in the very end does not win a pawn. White to move after queen c8. Feel free to pause your video or replay to follow the line. But,
yeah, it's a good exercise.
Yeah, white to move after queen c8.
I guess bishop f4 only move that makes sense. Just attacking the d6 pawn.
It's playable, but I could probably... Actually, maybe that's another candidate move. There's a simpler move to defend.
Oh, really?
You can defend h3 and f4.
Oh, queen f1.
Queen f1.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So I realized queen f1 was possible in this position, and he played d4. And then I started realizing that, I'm going to be left with some slightly less preferable structure. But then I decided that it still looks okay to go for this line and provoke queen f1. So we go into this. I played relatively quickly. I played queen c8, and then he starts shaking his head.
Oh, so he missed it.
He didn't see queen f1, and he was just shaking his head. I tried to keep a poker face to not give any tells that he has queen f1.
Right. So you tried to portray that you're winning. You're just winning a pawn.
I was trying to show no emotion but appear confident.
Right. It was a valiant effort, my friend, but
Yes.
you are losing a pawn with
Yes.
white. I'm sorry.
And queen f1, it's a type of move if you just assume you're losing a pawn as white, it was just so shocking for him.
Right.
Then he stopped looking for defenses and he starts looking for ways to get compensation. I forgot bishop f4 was possible here. I don't think bishop f4 works though because I I can take on h3. He didn't play bishop f4, but if we go into some line like this, I'll have queen c1 in various moments, or I'll have like knight g4, like if take knight g4 coming. So he has no time to take on d6. So he plays knight c3, and then
so you just didn't see queen f1.
He didn't see queen f1. I told him after the game, and he didn't see it.
Wow.
So I take on h3. I win a pawn, but he gets some accidental compensation because d6 is weak.
This is so funny. So I saw your position like around this moment, maybe 2 or 3 moves later, and I saw you're up a pawn. But this is a structure that you'll like often get in the Smith-Morra. And because I know you're preparing all these gambit lines.
You thought it was a Smith-Morra.
I thought like, oh yeah, he played Smith-Morra, and now they have some Smith-Morra position.
But it's weird to fianchetto the bishop in the Smith-Morra.
Yeah, I didn't really... Maybe actually bishops were already traded, I think.
Okay.
So I was like...
Yeah, a bit later. So I play rook d8, and then we traded bishops.
Yeah, maybe,
so
somewhere around here.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, he got good compensation for Smith-Morra.
Right. But I'm up a pawn, and there's 2 strategies for black. There's one strategy, just hang on to the pawn. Second strategy is to lose the pawn in the best way possible. And then there's some third strategy is go for counterplay somehow.
Give up 2 pawns.
But okay, I hold on to the pawn. He plays knight d5, trade. And then I realized it's probably not worth defending the pawn. He has e5 in some positions. So I forget about the pawn. I play rook e8, which I think was a nice move. I was debating between rook e8 and bishop f6, going for counterplay against either e4 or b2 or a2 in some cases. If I play bishop f6, I didn't like the fact that he could take, and e5, and my bishop's stuck. Yeah, it has no squares. Queen b3 could come, so it looks scary.
Yeah.
So I play rook e8. And he's still trying to get compensation. He takes, take. I win a2, so I'm still up a pawn. And he plays rook d7. And I calculated this whole line when I played rook e8, and I simply played b6, and basically asking him what his play is. And then he played rook b7, which I thought initially didn't work because of rook to d8. Discouraging rook d7, or at least forcing a trade of rooks. And then he played a move I completely forgot about, and it really scared me. He played rook d5.
Oh.
It's obstruction.
It's a bomb.
Of the queen. Yeah, and I can't take the rook because he's threatening mate in 2. And now I have to defend the f7 pawn. And there were actually a couple options for me. I could take on b2, give away f7, and defend g7. I could throw in a check on b1, or I could play what I played in the game, rook to f8. Now this allows this tactic, rook take f7. And when I played rook f8, I saw rook take f7 coming, and I realized it's going to get a bit funky here.
Yeah.
And this might be an exercise like black to move. What's the best continuation here?
Yeah, not get mated.
Yeah, definitely don't get mated. I think there's actually a couple options here because white doesn't have an immediate threat. Maybe white's threatening like rook d7.
Right.
Or wait a minute. Maybe not even. Maybe rook d7 is a move.
Yeah, I guess I feel like maybe queen takes b2 would come to mind. If I can just take the pawn.
Right. Though, okay, so queen take b2, rook d7. It's such a weird configuration.
It's tough to deal with. You can't move anything. But if there's... Well, I guess he is starting to take on g7, right? Because you're the one who's
probably,
kind of playing for the win.
We'll have the queen and 2 passers.
Right, so that will be... Yeah, I don't know.
So I played a more simple move. And it's the type of move maybe you wouldn't consider at first. Queen take d5.
Oh, yeah.
And now this is another moment in the game. He missed something pretty simple. After queen take d5, what should white calculate in this position?
Well, the forcing moves. So either rook f8 or rook g7. So rook g7, queen g4.
And then take the queen, right?
And then you get extra pawn versus just ed5. So
exactly.
he just played ED5?
So he just played ED5, and I'll explain why. I'm sure he saw rook take G7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he rejected rook take G7 because king H8.
Oh, king H8. Funny move.
However, okay, this is another kind of calculation exercise. After rook take G7, king H8, white to move, and be completely okay.
Oh, he missed queen H1. So rook H7, queen H1.
Queen H1.
Yeah, this guy and his backward queen moves. He has to work on it.
Wow. I was quietly laughing to myself here that he missed queen F1 and queen H1.
Yeah, that's a blind spot.
Yeah. But as we'll see, his misses were not as big as my miss. Happened in about 70 moves. Okay, so tick. So now I'm feeling very good. I'm just 2 rooks. And I'm winning the d-pawn. Rook d6, nice move. And then I'm just doubling up. He tried to be sneaky, like if I play rook here, he mates me, but I saw that. And then I double up. And eventually... Oh, he checked me a little bit.
Yeah, this feels like a technical win.
Yeah, so I thought here, okay, I've messed up good positions before. Mm-hmm. This should be pretty smooth. I'll take my time, have rooks. And then, as you'll see, I completely mishandled it.
Yeah.
I think one factor was just, going off of yesterday's video title was fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this game ended up taking so long. And maybe some misevaluation. Maybe I just thought it was going to be easier than it actually was. Because he I think found the correct resource to try and play f5 at some point. I want to mate him somehow with my rooks, but I can't leave my king too exposed. So we're going to zoom forward here. My plan was to double up rooks in the f file and win the f pawn. So he played g5. And then I thought I could somehow win the f pawn. I start with h5. Maybe already not the best move, but I thought it should be good enough. Played b4, rook d7, queen e6, rook d7. And now we're in a situation he has to move the queen. If he moves the queen anywhere other than d6, then I would play rook f5 and
just
win
get
that
this.
pawn.
Yeah.
So he plays queen d6. Then I play rook e4.
Okay.
And I'm happy this f-pawn is a goner. Then he plays f5. And then around here, I think I made the wrong decision. I played what felt like the most
just putting your rook
move
on a defended square.
Rook g4 check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then king h3. Maybe here, like maybe I had a couple moments to make the right decision. Yeah, here I'm pretty sure I made the wrong decision. Question is which pawn to take and how.
Well, rook g5 looks really clean. I just don't even see
Okay, that's what I played.
Wow.
Because I'm up, like I have 2 rooks for queen and I have 2 extra pawns.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I probably should have taken this pawn. Maybe I'm wrong though. I think like in hindsight.
Queen e7.
Queen e7 here.
This is amazing. I had the exact same structure in my game. Queen e8.
I saw your game. Yeah, it was the parallels were interesting here.
Check on e7.
And then I play this. And I create shelter for the king.
Oh, so in my game, my pawn was on h2 or h7. So queen e5 check. So this was always a perpetual.
Oh, okay.
And at some point, I wanted to play like h4 just to get this escape square.
Wow. Okay.
So that's really interesting. So yeah, so black is just escaping here.
Well, he could win the a7 pawn, and then I think this sort of position should be a much easier win, like taking on g5, because I'll maintain control over the pass b pawn, and then I should have enough shelter for my king with these 2 connected passers.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks just
the position. Winning. Yeah, so I thought like either one should be winning. I played this, and then this was actually difficult to win. I don't know if I missed some simpler idea, but the fact that I have an h pawn and only 2 rooks to shelter the king, it's hard to make progress.
Right. So I think without the queen side, this is a theoretical draw.
You're probably right. Yeah.
And from what I've seen, it's not hard because all black needs to do is just keep pinning, or white needs to do is keep pinning the rook, so that you can't
without the queen side.
Yeah. But with the queen side, it feels like...
Yeah, so I'm thinking...
Should be winning?
At some point I allowed him to play b5 and kind of fix the structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe I should have played a5. But then I thought, if I have a passed a-pawn, how much damage can it actually do? This queen...
Yeah, it's an interesting endgame.
Yeah. So I was thinking I should leave the structure on the queen side as is, and then maybe someday walk my king over. As we'll see, things did not pan out.
What if you just played h4, just to give the pawn, but...
I wanted to do that, but I thought there was no rush.
Okay, yeah.
I start with king h6.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a beginning of a long dance. And we're going to zoom forward, because we both danced around. I was okay if he takes my h-pawn. I was trying to do stuff with the rooks. Then around here I got h4 in. I thought, okay, maybe it's some progress to push the h-pawn. Then I realized that the pawn moving forward creates less safety for the king. Like in this position, this is a prime example. If I play h3 here,
mm-hmm.
I think it's already a perpetual check. Because my, like the queen's going to hover between these squares and my king can't escape.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So this was one of the problems. Like I couldn't march up h-pawn further. So I did some more dancing. And then he plays b5, so he was okay fixing the structure.
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought my plan should be... I thought I had like multiple winning plans and it should somehow work out.
Yeah.
Like one plan is to walk my king to like c5.
Right.
And just win the pawn and hide. Other plan is to somehow make progress with the h-pawn. Mm-hmm. I thought between one of these plans it should be winning. But practically it was tough because he keeps checking me. And my rooks, they block, but I had to come back to the edge to get out of checks. Then he wants to win a7. So more dancing. I think we can just probably zoom forward to the critical moment. Not really a critical moment, just a blunder moment. Queen e3. Okay, so I also wanted to win b5, but then he starts checking me again. And then, okay, I lock up with my king, create some more shelter. And then I think one of the reasons why, okay, I lost this game. I think I mentioned that. One of the reasons why I lost this game is because there was so much dancing. It just ate away at my brain.
Right.
It's like, I don't know how to describe it. But,
well, yeah, I mean, it's like...
But I was trying to, like, one of the reasons why I was dancing was to try and eat away at his brain, too. Because we were both in time trouble.
No, I mean, you're skipping through these moves, but on every single one of these moves, it's like a 30-second think. Like,
exactly, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it just... Yeah. It goes endless.
Playing through this at very fast pace. Anyway, he played a weird move here, queen e5, which caught me off guard because I was expecting like queen e3 to pin the rook.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hallucinated that, okay, this is where like after such like long sequences of moves, you start having hallucinations. I hallucinated that this could be checkmate. Mm-hmm. I forgot h4 is hanging.
Oh, wow.
Because my king was like on h5 and g4 and so many other positions. So I played rook f2 pretty quickly,
mm-hmm.
completely forgetting king h3 is a playable move.
Mm-hmm.
So that was maybe the first mistake, because now if he wants to, he can probably just win the h4 pawn. Then I played a move here, which, it's painful to, like the wound is so fresh, and just looking at it, it's just pouring salt in the wound. But viewers can maybe guess what terrible move I played, which looks like a natural move.
Well, I guess there are a lot of ways to blunder the rook here. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a natural one. Like rook d2, or no.
Okay, I'm not going to play rook d2. I'm not that bad. Okay, I played rook g2. I thought rook's connected, cutting the king off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't even realize this was I thought it was just like a perpetual.
Yeah, so that's why I got this water after the game, because I had to rehydrate after crying so many tears.
Yeah, brutal.
Queen h8 check, and black is now losing. Yeah, chess is tough. But hopefully for the viewers, this goes to show everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
For those of you who think IMs are invincible, I'm human. Especially I'm.
I mean,
like,
but
I don't know.
But this kind of stuff happens
Yeah.
at like. Have you seen that video of the Olympiad where I think Georg Meyer blunders his queen in a queen and
Yeah, I mean
game?
this happens to everyone.
Oh yeah,
but,
I mean
it's just sad when it happens to you.
Yeah.
So, but okay, one lesson for viewers, because maybe there's some younger viewers watching, or more emotional chess players. After I blundered, I felt sad inside, but I realized it's still a game.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I have a rook, and there's fortress possibilities. If I get if I get a king to b8 and a rook to c5, it's just a fortress.
Yeah, that's it.
So I had to continue fighting, but he played well enough to convert. Yeah, he found good squares for his queen. Queen c6, cutting me off.
So he just never lets your king in.
Yeah, I was trying to not let his king in, but I was already in like some zugzwang here. I was running out of moves, and he checks me. I'm pretty sure if he wants to, he can just take the rook, right? Am I mistaken? Take. I mean, he probably doesn't want to like risk.
No, king f6. I think you're probably good. Oh wait. Oh no,
this is
not in
winning.
time.
Yeah.
So yes, you could have done this already.
Yeah. What I was gonna do, because I give these sort of endgames.
King
to my
d7.
students.
No, you're.
Wait, what am I talking about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was okay. It was some later.
It was
position.
work on f7. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The king has to be on d5. Okay, never mind. I think there is an opportunity later though. Plays queen here. Oh, there's a trap here. Like if I play rook e6 and king d5 wins immediately.
Yeah.
So I play king f5, and he plays queen c8 here. And then, oh, I think it was this position. He can play king c6. Because now, okay, here, and then king a6 will.
This critical zugzwang position.
Yeah. So I wanted to show this because oops, king c7 here. I've given this position to my students.
Tricky.
Half the time, my students mess this up.
Yeah.
So for anyone watching, the only winning move here, I guess, okay, the best way to win this is king a6, and then just push the pawn and you'll queen. My students a lot of the times mess up with king c6, and then it allows king a7, and then the only way to win is to repeat.
Right.
Anyway,
because of the
stalemate
trick, right?
Yeah. Like if they play here, then it's already drawn because king a8.
King a8, yeah.
King c7 is just stalemate. Okay, so that's what I was kind of daydreaming of. But he played king d6 here, and then I got excited for a moment because I saw I could win the b5 pawn. I didn't see how he's forking me. Then he takes on b5. Final tactic for the viewers: white to move and win the rook by force.
Yeah, these calculations are hard. You have to
Especially,
just find the mind squares, right? So
yeah, I mean, especially after playing 100 moves. Anyway, move
queen d8 check.
Yeah, queen d8, and then wherever the king moves, there's a fork.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make some beautiful thumbnail.
Yeah, the thumbnail we did the other day, like YouTube picked it automatically.
Ooh, because it sees colors.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, we can draw a frowny face.
Oh, I thought it was a coincidence.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's
really
interesting
sad.
how similar our games were today, because I essentially reached the same endgame.
You know, I had a terrible thought during. In hindsight, this is a terrible thought. I was thinking, ooh, we both have two rooks against queen endings, we can title the video "How International Masters Win with Two Rooks Against a Queen."
We'll still call it that.
We'll have to. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a bummer. To be very frank, though, I mean, very fortunate to win this game. I made similar mistakes.
So it was weird because I had the winning position. I lost. You had a drawish position.
It was drawn.
Won.
Yeah, for sure. But, well, yeah, I guess, I mean, it was definitely a very interesting fight. I think I'll go quickly through the opening. We essentially got a semi-Slav type position. And this setup was recommended by GM Avruk in his update to the d4 repertoire.
Interesting.
Before, I think he recommended like knight d2 and queen e2, if I'm not mistaken. But this setup is pretty dangerous. The idea is to play e4 under kind of good circumstances, and it kind of depends on what black does here. So rook c8 is like a natural move. He played queen e7, which is also very natural. I remember the move is rook fe1 here, which makes sense. Black played rook c8, and I played e4. So this is kind of white's big idea.
Nice, yeah.
And this is still in my book. If black takes on e4, which is kind of normal, the main thing to understand about this position is that white is just trying to prevent black from playing c5. If black can play c5, he usually equalizes. If not, white will keep an edge. So one idea, for example, putting the rook on e1 is that now c5 can be met with d5.
Can you also just take on c5, take on f6, take on h7?
Yeah, actually this is another common way of kind of discouraging the move. So if this isn't working for black, like bishop e4 to be solid, then, well, they can't play c5, so they have to make some preparatory move like h6, and then at some point white can even play c5 himself just to try and stop this, or look for like other tactics. Well, for the moment c5, d5 is still possible, so I think white here is just kind of slightly better. But he took on c4 instead, which is another way to play. Pawn takes is definitely possible, but I took with the bishop. This is kind of another move.
Is this still your prep? Or?
I think so. Okay. During the game, I felt like this is something I looked at.
Okay.
b5, bishop d3, and e5. So we get a very classic like semi-Slav structure. I play knight e2, which I believe is the theoretical move, and the idea is to put the knight on g3 and f5. From what I remember, the only move, or not the only move, the best move was g6. And I think white is supposed to play queen c1 with the idea of trying to put the queen here and then just looking for tactics on the king side. So I think it's very playable. He played c5. By the way, I should be careful about what I say in the opening because we got this blog sent to us on the Blumenfeld Gambit.
Yeah.
Which
people are like studying everything we say.
Which was great to see. Yeah. For those that aren't following the saga, I played against the Blumenfeld in round 1, and I used this kind of new idea with e4, this pawn sacrifice. I somewhat offhandedly said that this is basically the refutation.
Right.
These are definitely strong words, but I did feel like it's a good line. And so someone took those words and then did his research and analyzed actually very much in detail, and it was a really nice blog. So we'll link it in the comments.
Yeah, shout out to whoever.
I think his name was Perlen Von Bodensee or something. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it.
Sounds pretty boss.
Apologies, but we'll link to it. It's very interesting. I haven't had a chance to fully go through it and respond to it yet, but I love that he took something we said and just made a full like opening survey out of it. That was really cool.
Great. Yeah.
So yeah, I have to be careful about what I say about this line, but the semi-Slav is basically refuted. Okay, in all seriousness, I do think this c5 move is inaccurate because it actually allows a pretty hidden threat that I used in the past to win 2 separate games. One against an IM, one against a lower rated player. But full credit for this idea goes to Avruk because it's all over the chapter. It's kind of like a thematic line. And the point is white just makes all of these trades on e5, but with the knight on e2, you get this f4 move in.
Nice.
And black just immediately experiences huge problems because e5 is coming, hitting the knight, and then the bishop is opened up against h7. Normally, black doesn't even get this with the pawn on c5. Here, at least, the bishop is opened up. But the tactics here are just working out for white. So he plays queen h5, which seems like the most natural move. But now white has knight g3, queen h4, and knight g4 is coming, which is annoying, but white has knight f5.
Yeah, just a fork.
Simple double attack.
Fork the queen and fork a fork.
Yeah, so he has no choice, and I basically win the exchange. Nice. And I think this was more or less forced after f4. Had he not gone to h5, like back to e7, then I think minimum white can play e5 here.
That's just flow, right?
And just takes knight g3, and yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, I got the exchange, and I decided to take the b5 pawn, which allows him to take on e4 if he wants, but I thought this position actually, his activity is going to be very short-lived, because I can trade, I can start taking over the open files. I think he has some compensation. I didn't think it would be exactly enough in the game. But he played the other move, knight g4, which I thought was really interesting. He forces me to play g3 to defend the different mates. Actually, there was one nice line I thought we would get. I thought he was going to play queen e5, threatening queen d4 check. White's most natural move is rook d1, but then you have to find an answer against c4, threatening the bishop and queen c5 check. So in that position, white to play and find the strongest move.
Wait, after
c4.
After rook d1,
yeah.
c4. Okay.
Rook d1, c4.
Bishop d7.
So bishop d7, he plays queen c5 check.
King g2.
King g2. I think knight e3 check.
Rook
Take
e3.
Queen takes.
E4 hangs.
And then e4, and then the queen is hanging.
Wait. Let's keep going. After, what was the last move there?
So knight e3, rook takes e3, queen takes e3.
Yeah, okay. Bishop take d7, okay. Bishop take e4, and then king h3.
And like queen h6 check.
Queen h6.
Yeah.
I want to like back rank mates.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Well, you found
I found some idea.
The right idea there, but yeah. Bishop
so
d7.
Rook d1, c4, white to move. Oh, so back rank mate, queen takes c4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was
so simple.
I was hoping we get this. And the other issue is that I'm also threatening queen c8 with check. So if he makes some attacking move, I'll take. I thought maybe he can play h5 here, dealing with the issue and hitting my queen, but then queen e2, and I think I'm holding everything.
Yeah, bishop d3 at some point.
Oh, no, wait. This is the line I think I'm blundering.
Because it is like f5 in some positions.
Because if I play here, he has bishop takes e4. And because the pawn is on h5, he gets this mate.
Gotcha.
I remember seeing this during the game. I don't remember if I have a better... Maybe I have king f1 or something. But it looks a little shaky. I wasn't 100% about to go into this. Oh, I think I was planning on playing rook d5. I think this was the move. So he takes the rook, we take with check. If like queen b2, I think I can take this guy with check, and then like queen e2, and should be holding everything. But okay, he played queen h6 instead, so he wants to put the knight on e5. And then he gives me this big option to play bishop d7, which I end up taking, because I just felt like the knight on e5 is going to be annoying to deal with, and I have to defend h2, and the bishop d7 looked like a good way to force things. He had seen this coming, of course. His idea was to play rook d8 and rook d2.
So this is how it happened.
And now, white has no choice but to take, but I was very optimistic going into this one. I mean, I think yours was a lot better.
Right.
But I like that I have rook d1 threatening the back rank. If he plays queen g5, then h4 is just a killer. And he just runs out of squares.
Nice.
So he's forced to go queen a5, which is a lot more passive. And then I thought rook f1. This was the move from afar that kind of convinced me to go for this position. I just didn't see a good way for him to defend the pawn. Because king g8, I'll play rook d7. And then bishop c8 I can take this way.
Nice.
f6, I'll play e5. And this looked good. I don't see any counterplay black can do. But he played the only move, which was a really strong move, h5. So he creates Luft. If I take, I think the idea is to play c4. Now he hits the bishop, and he threatens to get like a pass pawn.
You just play, like, take on f7, just keep taking stuff.
Yeah, I thought this should be good for white as well.
And then bishop g6. Threatening mate.
But queen b6 check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Missing things.
But I do have bishop d5. I was really strongly considering this. And I... Well, actually, I think the reason... I thought this position was good, bishop, because I'm just... The c-pawn's under control. I mean, it's very similar to what you got.
Yeah.
But maybe I didn't like... I thought actually he can also maybe take on e4 in some position, maybe here. And I wasn't 100% clear.
G2 could be annoying to defend.
Right, and then he always has like c4 and then queen c5 check and...
Right, okay.
So,
enough.
But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Maybe like bishop f3 would have been... Because what I did was I took on f7 because I thought this this endgame that we get by force is going to be good. But it was based on a pretty dumb miscalculation. So the line I had seen was that I was going to play check here and then go back. So I have the tempo. He gives check, takes the e4 pawn. What else? I take and check. And I had brilliantly calculated that this king and pawn endgame was winning for white. But what I had overlooked in this position is that he can just play king g6, and I actually don't have any threats. Meanwhile, I mean, his queen is super active. He has all kinds of perpetual checks.
Right.
So either I allow a perpetual or I allow him to take all my pawns.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, so this position, I thought it was drawn. Oh, and then I missed actually something even simpler. Because I thought about going for this anyways. But then I realized that he doesn't have to give queen b1 check. He can even just play queen e2. Which is now reminding me of your game with the queen e1, queen e4 kind of perpetual check idea.
Yeah, your king has...
And so I just don't...
safe space.
I don't get out. Specifically because if he ever takes on e4 with check, I lose my rook. So I can't play king g2 here. So
I saw the position around this moment. Like, there were a few moments in my game I was walking to your board to see how similar it was. After, I think, rook... Yeah, after rook...
So I ended up playing the other rook to d7.
Yeah, so I was thinking about some line like this. Oh, maybe it's just like wrong, but I was thinking he could play like queen b2 and just defend g7. But then you, I guess, can take on a7.
I might be able to take on g7. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, just during, like, when I glanced at the position, I was calculating some endgame like this, where I thought, if anything, black should have winning chances. Because of some outside passer potential. Oh. But I don't know. It's a bit irrelevant.
Well, we can show the endgame. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to show the endgame without the e4 pawn. But yeah, this I just feel like I just go... Oh, but the difference here is my king is... far less active.
Yeah.
Right. So this one, you might be right. I honestly have no idea. But I guess if I can't take
also
on g7...
Also, there was c4, I think, in one of the positions.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
But here, yeah, I would... If I can keep my e-pawn, I'm good. But the problem is the perpetual check is
black should have enough to draw here.
Oh, yeah, so in the other line, the difference was... If he gives this check and takes, and then takes, yeah, my king is way closer here.
Yeah.
But I do have to be very precise. So I thought king e3, king g6, and king e4. Let's say king g5. I'm pretty sure if I go immediately, black is in time.
Wait, I have a pawn race.
So take e4.
Interesting.
b5, b6, g3, and draw.
Okay.
Queen at the same time. But I have this move king e5, which forces him to either lose a tempo with the king or lose 2 tempi or push his pawn. And so I can basically force him to play like a5. And now because his pawn is closer, now I'm winning the race.
Ah, nice.
And I think white wins by like 1 tempo or something. Yeah, literally 1 tempo, and because it's a knight pawn, white wins this endgame. So
wait, I have a question though.
Yeah.
Was c4 possible at some point?
Just
any point, like yeah, after king. Let's say after king e4, king e4, king g6,
c4.
Yeah.
Wait, so take
a5,
and just here.
King f6, king e5.
I guess I would have to go for the queen. Wow, I didn't even consider this. But then we get like...
And black's queening first. Maybe king b5 is...
Oh, yeah, you're right. You would play...
King d4.
Oh, but I get g4 with check. Oh, and I get the...
It's like the end of the movie searching for Bobby Fischer.
But maybe... Oh, but you have to play king d4. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I could throw in king d... Yeah, king d6. Nice. But then c5 check.
Right. And so here we take, and then here...
c6. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. But that's interesting. I didn't even consider... Like, that could have been a... that could have been a very cold shower.
King... pawn endings are very deceiving.
I guess white is okay there. But okay, but look, I calculated like till that variation was like move 51.
Sometimes when you calculate so deep, you miss stuff.
Well, I missed king g6.
Yeah. And you're calculating like 10 moves deeper in some other line.
No, exactly. So from this position, right? And it's like it just ends up being useless. Very impressive, but useless.
Yeah.
So here I realized that not only king g6 is unclear, but simply queen e2 is probably just an immediate draw. So I kind of grit my teeth and I said, okay, I guess I have to. I realized the only way to play for a win is to hold on to the e4 pawn because it's my passer, and well, prevent him from giving perpetual. So I had to work very hard just to create anything here, but I think objectively the position is drawn. Okay, so he took. He could also play queen e2 and win the e4 pawn, but then I thought, well, I keep the b3 pawn. And so, okay, at least he has, I don't know if I make that move, but maybe king f2. At least he has no counterplay. I can try to improve.
Right.
But that's probably drawn. But he takes rook d3, queen b2, stopping e5, rook d2, queen b3. I think this is the most accurate. He hits the rook and he doesn't block his c-pawn. Now I play rook e1. And here I felt like at least I have chances. We're both in time trouble, so anything can really happen. C3, rook e2. So if he pushes c2, I just hit e6, queen b1, e7, and white wins.
Nice.
So I'm always queening with check in all of these lines. The other line is c2 if he plays like queen c4, and then takes the rook, like queen with check, and then the rook comes from behind.
So his king should be on h7.
Yeah, maybe at some point he could have spent this tempo and that would have been useful, but I'm always just kind of ready to push. But he found the right move, queen b6 check, and he can bother my king. So I can lose, like rook e3 c2 is lost, because I'm just losing my rook. So I have to play king f1. He played queen e6,
Wait, go back to after you losing the rook.
Oh.
After rook e3, c2, king f2.
Oh, right. I think there was some issue with this.
Oh, maybe queen b2.
Yeah, queen b2.
Discover check. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, so king f1. I actually expected him to play here. And my plan was to go for the endgame we eventually get, where he takes all my pawns with check. But my king gets out and I just bank on the e-pawn. So we'll see this position later on, basically. He played queen e6. I try to pick up his pawn. He does this. And here I realized I have no choice anymore, because he has queen f3 check in every position if my rook's not defended. So I played here. Now he has nothing to do except accept my gambit. And then we get this endgame.
It's a cool endgame.
Yeah, I mean, my experience here, I mean, I thought it should be a draw with best play, but it is very, very complicated. And we'll see.
I think it's easier to win with a passed e-pawn rather than a passed h-pawn.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, you can, hide around it a lot easier. Okay, so queen g1 check. I thought this was wrong. I thought queen f4 check, but anyways, it take forever to analyze every single check. King c4, he has no checks. So he plays queen b6. I pushed. He gives a check. I play king b3, queen b5 check. I don't think I have a way to win here. I think this is still a pretty easy draw, actually.
It's like perpetual, yeah.
It seems like a perpetual. Yeah. I'm not sure I can avoid taking the pawn, because I'll probably get mated if I keep it on the board. So I took, and then he just gives this check. So my only way is to kind of go to c1 at some point. But this is a draw. I don't think there's any way out.
Can you use his like g4 pawn as shelter?
So yeah, if I like try to go this way, queen d3 check, queen g3, and so this is a key line that he always has these mates. If I try to shuffle the rooks, these were really a pain to calculate. But I was really bummed, because I knew I had blown it at this point, right? So the only trick I have is that he can't play queen h3 check, rook h2, but queen f3 check. The only way I could try to win is like rook g2. But now my pawn is undefended, and so this is very dangerous. Well, I mean, he should be able to win the pawn back.
You can just like check on h3.
No, then.
Oh, never mind.
So yeah, like here, I don't know, he gives check and like
queen e4,
something like this. Okay. Yeah, just wins the pawn.
Yeah.
So I played rook b2 just to get some space. He gives the checks on the third rank. Now I tried king d2, and here I thought his whole idea was to play queen d6 check, which I believe is a draw. I didn't see a way to get out. So the point is that I just can't advance with my king at all. He just gives the check on the 6th rank. I can never.
We can't move to the e-file.
Cross, and so we get this. So I'm not sure exactly. Maybe he hallucinated that I would have some way out of this. Maybe king c2. But I thought queen c5 check, queen f5. And I didn't see how I'm making progress here.
Like rook c2?
Rook c2, probably this check.
He has queen g5.
Yeah.
Seems like you're making some progress.
Yeah, like his queen is a little bit...
King c1?
Further. I'd be curious. Maybe the engine can just find some insane win here.
Engines are good at chess.
But, okay, I guess I would do this.
Yeah, it seems like you're escaping.
Oh, here I get out.
Yeah.
Maybe... Well, yeah, clearly not as easy as I had thought. I'm wondering if...
I assume if he ever plays queen e7, then you're in good shape.
Maybe he has queen c6 check? Oh yeah, so the thing here is that queen e7, any move is immediately losing because I have rook h2.
Nice.
So So this is kind of the only good thing going for me, is that I have this incessant mate threat.
So he needs to keep the checks coming.
Yeah, maybe queen c6 with the idea to play queen h1 at the right.
King b1.
b1.
Oh, queen d5.
Yeah.
Then rook b3. Queen a5, king b2.
Yeah, actually. I don't know. Maybe this is not so easy. Well, yeah, I mean, I hesitate to make any conclusions here because, like, the engine, I mean, I feel like everything I thought in the game is wrong. Everything I'm going to say now is probably incorrect. The engine will show the truth. Anyone interested should analyze, because these positions are just almost impossible to figure out. Anyways, he plays queen f4 check. Maybe he noticed that queen e6 is not so easy, but this allows my king to come up. Although here he could still play queen c7 and kind of revert to that line, I think. Maybe he's less flexible for some reason. But he plays queen f3 check, and now it gets very tricky. So, to sum up what happens, my king will take all of his pawns, and then I end up winning.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really...
All of his pawns?
Every pawn.
Even the g7 pawn?
It was truly a miracle.
Okay.
So, I start moving my king up. He still has just an endless amount of checks. From a practical point of view, I think we kind of know what to do here. You just move around a lot, you look for some pitfall, and then you try to maneuver there. So one idea was that if he gives a check and allows me to go to a8, then I'll have rook b7.
Nice.
And then no more queen c8 because rook b8 check. But he spots it. I think he just plays queen d8, and now I have really no choice but to just take the pawn. And I was actually fine with taking this pawn. I mean, I get less shelter, but I also eliminate the 50 move rule, which is going to rear its ugly head at some point. So queen a5 check, he keeps pushing me around. And I actually had already seen the idea that I executed in the game, but I just wanted to take his a-pawn first.
Fair enough.
Just to make him think, like, I'm not really doing anything. But I realized my king can actually get out through f7, g6. Now, it looks exceptionally dangerous. I was not convinced that I'm not getting mated somehow myself.
It does look dangerous. Yeah.
But I didn't see the mate because, like, somehow my king just has... And so now I'm threatening to take on g4. He plays queen f5 check. I think he should have kept his pawn on g7 from a practical point of view. And I think a move like queen f6 check is still going to be very hard for me to win. I think he just gets a ton of checks. But he plays g5. King h5. So this is the position I had to make sure I'm not getting mated. Because he has like king h7 and all kinds of, you know, he played g3 in the game.
I don't think you could construct a mate. Like, what's the possible mate that you could construct here? Like maybe king on h7, queen on h4. But...
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't seem likely. Yeah, if he does play king h7, then I'll throw in a couple of checks. And then maybe, well, actually I'm not sure, but I thought I could. Yeah, actually I didn't see a threat after king h7, so I was probably just gonna push. And then he has to find some perpetual. Oh, I guess actually, you know, there is a way to lose, but
wait, that's losing?
I mean, if I go back to h5.
Yeah.
But I think I can take on g5. And just get out.
Yeah.
Okay, so he plays g3. I didn't see a threat, so I pushed. g4, king h4. And he, of course, has to give checks, and so I'm taking all his pawns. Now queen h3 check, king g5. He runs out.
Nice.
So he's forced to play queen s6. I happily took.
Very nice.
But now, like, how to win, though?
That's crazy.
Because he's still giving the checks.
Right.
So I revert back to the original idea I had. The only way to get out is to eventually put the rook on g2. He still doesn't have queen h3 check.
Yeah.
And see, without the pawn on g7, his king is kind of stuck in a mating net.
Nice.
There are many lines where I can give the pawn. I have some correct rook move and mate. And I think it's losing at this point. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's still a draw here. It looks so bad. But
well, this is table-based territory. There's 6 pieces.
So we could easily look it up, but it's 12:47 a.m. So that'll be up for you guys.
Okay, let's see the finish.
Yeah, rook g1, queen f3 check. I bring the second rook over.
Beautiful.
He does the natural thing, keeps my rook pinned and stops the pawn.
Yeah.
And white
Don't
to play
king h2
and win. Good time to pause.
I would probably find king h2. White to play and win.
Yeah.
Well, you could queen, right?
Yeah.
Or could you promote? You could promote to a rook.
Of course, I could, but come on. No, you have to queen out of respect.
Yeah.
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 Because obviously I'm just very lucky to
in
win
an
the
online game you could promote to rook, but tournament game.
Yeah, an online game you like run your clock down, promote, pre-move. Yeah. But that was. I mean, you know, he resigned a bit. What an amazing finish, right? Just like
two rooks on a pawn against queen.
So yeah, I mean, this is one of the far from my cleanest game, but I was happy I just kept pushing and just looking for these chances. It would have been nice had you just converted your game.
It would have been
as normal.
Yeah, it's well. Hopefully, people who want to learn more about two rooks against queen endings can get some value from this video.
I hope so. Yeah.
So,
all right, guys. We'll wrap it up here.
Good night, people.
Thanks for
Thanks
checking
for watching.
it out.